Hi there, it's Tiffany from Daisy Farm Crafts, and today I'm going to do a tutorial for you for this really cute ribbed beanie. I'm giving you lots of options for sizes. This is kind of like a medium size hat. This one is a little bit tighter. I haven't quite finished and put the pom-pom on, be more like a beanie size. And then I also have one in this beautiful rust color that will be really slouchy. You've got lots of options for this ribbed look. It's 2 different stitches of half double crochet. I'll be showing you how to attach a fur pom-pom that has an elastic around it simply by stitching a little button underneath when you're done gathering the top of the hat. So this hat construction is made by making one panel. We'll be slip stitching at the end of one row to kind of bring this in, and then we sew up the sides, and you just have to roll up the brim and you've got yourself a really cute hat. So let's get going, and I'll show you the yarn I used and how easy this is to make some really cute hats. The yarn I'm using for the hats are Red Heart Super Saver Brushed. And this is a super nice acrylic that has just a little fuzzy to it. It used to be called Red Heart Dreamy, but they changed the brand, and or this is just something very similar to Dreamy, has beautiful colors. The size recommended hook is an I 5.5 millimeter. And that's the size I'll be using today. I'm going to be using it in one of these new Susan Bates interchangeable hooks. It also has this handy feature with a cutting portion at the other side. I'm finding these to be very handy, and I love the grip. So in case you're wondering, everything's available on yarnspirations.com. And as a reminder, I am a stitch ambassador for yarnspirations.com. And they have sent me these hooks to use and try. Okay, so let's get started with just a basic chain. Just make your slip knot. And my general guideline for a hat is kind of take a chain that is measured from underneath your chin to the crown of your head. That kind of gives you a nice mount to roll up for the brim. You could go even a little bit more. So my measurement with this yarn is about 45 chains, but you could do 55 if you wanted a little bit slouchier off the top of your head. And if you happen to be using different yarn. That's just a guideline, is that just make this chain the measurement from about underneath your chin to the crown of your head. So I'm just going to be making a small little sample to get you going here. What you'll want to do is yarn over and begin working in the second chain from the hook, and we will be making a half double crochet and work 1 half double crochet into each chain until you have 5 chains left. So yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops. I'm just inserting my hook underneath the top loop of this chain too. Now we have 5 chains left, and into these 5 chains we're going to change the stitch to just be a slip stitch. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, and continue pulling through the loop on your hook. Keep these really kind of loose. You don't want these to be too incredibly tight. So keep your tension just nice and loose. This will become the top of your hat. Now chain 1 and turn your work and into the first 5 stitches into the back loop down here. So you kind of have to turn the work over, have it facing you a little bit. This will be the back loop. We're going to work slip stitch again. Let's slip stitch these first 5 stitches. 1. And boy, let me tell you, I do like these Susan Bates hooks for this reason. You see how they're kind of pointy on the end? Really helps me to get underneath that back loop. Okay, now we're going to change up the stitch. So we've slip stitched the first 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now yarn over, insert your hook into the back loop. We still will work into the back loop, but we'll yarn over and then pull through all 3 loops. So this is a yarn over slip stitch or a half double slip stitch, where before we start, we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into the back loop, yarn over, and continue pulling through 2 loops. So it kind of helps you remember on the rows that you start slip stitching, that's the row that you're going to just slip stitch 5 regularly and then add the yarn over slip stitch. This will give us that nice braided appearance on the hat, also give the hat lots of extra ribbing and stretch. So we're going to continue to work this yarn over slip stitch. Still, again, keep this, fairly loose. Okay, and in the last stitch of the row, I can tell I've got these 2 bars here left to be worked into. That's the chain 1 right there. I go ahead and just in this last stitch, I do work underneath both little V's. Since this will be the brim of the hat, kind of the bottom of the hat that will be folded up. Kind of gives it a nice little edge. Chain 1 and turn. Again, I'm also just choosing to chain 1 and turn since it's that edge on the hat that will be folded up. I just, still think it gives a neater appearance. But now I just go ahead and start working into the back loop, and we are back to working half double crochet. So I know this can get a little bit confusing. So one way I remembered the half double crochet rows start at the bottom of the hat and end with the slip stitches. So that kind of helped me remember if I had to put down the work and remember now what kind of stitch was I doing on this row. If I'm working towards the top of the hat, I was doing a half double crochet. And then all the slip stitches are made as I'm working away from the top of the hat. Maybe that will help you. Okay, so you are going to go ahead and continue alternating these rows until you have about 20 inches, 19 or 20 inches. You kind of want to measure the circumference of the head of the person you're working this for and do about 2 inches less Gives you a nice, comfortable hat. Of course, you can always make, if you want it tighter, you could always go 3 inches less. It's up to you, but an average woman has a 22 head inch circumference. Okay, so I'm back to the final 5. And I'll be slip stitching these. Okay, so I have a hat that's almost completed in a different color, and the length is 13 inches and the width is 20 inches. So you always, of course, want to measure the hat around your head just to make sure that you've got the width to comfortably put your hat on. So that's just a guideline to do about 2 inches left. So keep that in mind. Okay, so I ended on a row that's towards the bottom of the hat. And if you're wondering why I had you do those slip stitches, here's so you can see that the top of the hat will be easy for us to gather in. We'll have a little bit less bulk here up at the top. So now we'll work on seaming our hat together, and we're going to do that with slip stitches. So let's go ahead and chain 1 at the end of the row like you normally would. Kind of match up, find that very first underside of the chain there. We're going to work underneath both loops of the half double crochet and underneath both loops of the underside of that chain. That's our starting chain, and pull through with a slip stitch. Now let's still work underneath both loops of the half double crochet and under both loops of the bottom side of that starting chain. We're going to try and match up each stitch and go ahead and slip stitch all the way up to the top of the hat. Okay, so we have seamed up the side. This is what it looks like on this side, and here it is on the other side. So it's pretty invisible either way that you decide to do your hat. I'm going to consider this the inside of my hat. So when I roll up, I'll be seeing this side. But for right now, we're going to give yourself, we started with a fairly long tail for sewing. In case you didn't, go ahead and do this one as a long tail for sewing. We need to gather the top of the hat in. So how you're going to do that is to get a tapestry needle, which is just a large eye blunt tip needle. Let's go ahead and pull this one through. So thread either one of them, doesn't matter. And what you'll want to do is work in and out the top of the hat so that we can gather the top of the hat in towards the peak. So I'm kind of going in and around the stitches there, like so. And pulling this tighter as we go. Okay, when I get to this last round, I pull this in tight. I get at the end of the round. Sorry, pull this in tight. And now I'm gonna go ahead and continue around so that I can pull it even tighter together. And just kind of go underneath those loops, pulling this around and around. And I might even go around one more time, and that's kind of helping to weave the end in at the same time and really secure the top of our hat. Okay, so as I say, I'm working on the inside of my hat. We're gonna have one more step that we're going to do. If you would like to attach one of those fur pom-poms that comes with an elastic. So that's probably good enough right there. Maybe a few more, and then I'll let's weave this end back under itself. Maybe around a few stitches just to really make sure we're hiding that tail. And we're good. Okay, remember we still have this other tail, but we're gonna use that so that what we can do is attach a button. All right, so I like to pick up these fur pom-poms that have the elastic. Here's one, maybe you can see better, it's the colored. And so how I like to attach them though to the hats is I'll just take a little button and actually make sure you have a needle that will fit down through the buttonholes. I've had that happen to me where I've got a needle and I couldn't get it through the buttonhole. But anyway, so I kind of have a lot of supplies of needles, a lot of different sizes. Go ahead and thread that through. And we're just gonna we're gonna make this work because I didn't want to pull up another loop, but let's kind of get this button over here to the underside of our hat. Go ahead and insert your hook up through the hat and then through that button. Let's get this situated on the underside of our hat here. You don't need too many stitches. And it will hold. Maybe even go around it and get it to stitch down. And then again, we'll just weave the end in. I'll probably weave it in on the other side. Oh, that's not smart. Never mind. Oh. Okay, so I've kind of got this just secured under here. Basically, it's okay if it's wobbly. You're gonna turn your hat inside out. Here's our edge. Let's go ahead and finish weaving this end in. So now we have that little button on the underside, and let's take this tail, weave this in to secure the button a little bit further. Lots of ways to do this. Okay, we're good. Now, what you want to do is go ahead and take a hook, or like even this hook, whatever you've got, kind of get around that button. You can feel the button, get it up, and find your elastic, hook it on, pull it down through the hole. And now here's our button on the other side. And let's do some twisting action here around the button. get it to stay on there a couple times to secure. Then that way you can take this elastic off if you need to wash the hat. Okay, so here we go. We've got our little hat, and when we've turned it inside out, that's what I'm saying, you'll see a seam, but it's really pretty subtle. I think you can tell that that's the back of our hat, and this is the front of our hat. So I know that was a bit fussy to get that button underneath there, but I think you'll be fine. Just have it secured under there. So cute. So another color, and I'm making this one even more slouchy. So the length on this one is, gosh, 16 inches. I'm making this one really slouchy off the back, and I probably won't add a pom-pom. So this will be kind of more that slouchy looking hat. But here's the pink one, and I'm thinking this would look really cool. This pom-pom. Does it have the, yes, it has the elastic right on there. So, all right. So good luck making your hats. This one will be definitely more of like a beanie, much smaller than this one. But they're just so adjustable. You can make it any size that you like. And I really love how the stitching turns out with the ribbed half double crochets and the half double crochet slip stitches. So lots of options for you. And I really liked using Red Heart Super Saver brushed. Okay, well, thank you for stopping by my channel and watching this tutorial. I hope I wasn't too confusing for you. Hopefully you'll get it and be able to make a lot of really cute hats this winter. Okay, you have a wonderful day.